This conference will now be recorded.
I know, I saw them there. They were laying in the street. You know, I'm glad I didn't get any closer than I did. Seven meters. Oh, I. No idea. Too much. Hot. Are you hot? You're hot, baby. Let's get to this.
All right, I'm tired.
I'm exhausted.
Sure you know. I am.
He may get long-winded, chunking together. All right.
So what do I do with you?
It is. You won't wait about 10 seconds. I got patience. Yeah. Well, I'm more worried about it. Let's get it.
You can time it.
There you go.
You can think over a minute and a half on this one, and then you can have 3. Well, that's better than that. You need to do the color shirt, minute and a half.
I think it's the only other thing that you I have 0.
I'll remind you that 3 is my mistake.
Okay.
0. I know.
Okay, let's be on today.
What? What? What?
Here you go.
No, they got rid of it.
He told yeah. Oh, that's the person that knows now.
They misspelled my name.
Yeah, they can do that.
It's spelled right. No, take it. You can.
Is that your, yeah.
I'm certified.
We knew that.
I'm good at this.
Oh, we're ready. Are y'all ready?
No.
Roll that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm reading my phone. I just wrote it.
All right, here we go. I call this regular session of the Lovington City Commission to order. Shannon, roll call, please.
Mayor Roberts,
Here.
Commissioner Trujillo,
Here.
Commissioner Gaines,
Here.
Commissioner Bowe,
Here.
Commissioner Clark.
I'm here.
Mr. Wild, would you like to lead us in our invocation tonight?
Will you bow your heads with me? So today I attended a class leading through discouragement and finding out joy in Jesus. This gave us that we need to be examples to others for strength and perseverance, and let others see our responses as examples that would please you. Let us rejoice and be glad when your glory is revealed. But also think about living through discouragement. Remind us of your blessing and your plan so we may find favor from you in our actions and decisions. Remind us to lay it at your feet to ease our hearts and minds. We can be content in all situations because of your strength. In your name I pray.
Amen. Okay. Join us in the pledge, please.
A pleasure.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the a symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
You may be seated.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
All right, motion taken for approval of the agenda. Any corrections, additions? Hearing none, Shannon?
Commissioner Trujillo,
Yes.
Commissioner Gaines,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner White, Commissioner Bowe.
Yes. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion because, again, Mr. Mayor, may I like to make a motion for consideration of the minutes for September 9th, 2024.
Okay, motion and second for the adoption of the minutes. Any corrections, additions, discussion? Hearing none, Shannon?
Commissioner Gandy,
Yes.
Commissioner Bowe,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo.
Yes.
All right, brings us to our commissioner staff report. Ms. Shannon, do you have anything this evening?
No, sir, I have nothing to report.
All right, sounds good. Chief, jump right over to you today.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, Commissioner, City Manager, officer activities for today, officer likely activities, I have none. Our code enforcement is the
Present.
calls of service that they went to is 683. The code citations was 27, and total code calls was 710. The lighting project at both cemeteries are complete. And here in a few minutes, our code enforcement officer Laura will have a couple words on the non-action items. That's all I have. Just have some questions.
All right, questions, commissioners? Oh, you're off the hook. Archie,
Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, so as of today, the fire department has 5 positions open that we are currently advertising for. We have still got 2 that are interested. Colby Van Cleef, who is a medic, is now the new EMS coordinator. He started last Monday. And then our numbers for August, total EMS, we had 270. Interfacility transfers, we had 52. Airport transfers, we had 14. Refusal cancel DOA, we had 34. Fatal calls, we had 13. And then we had 27 fire calls. That is all I have for today. I will send for any questions.
question. Be quick now. Commissioner Cole.
Yes, thank you all for being here,
Thank you.
commissioners, staff, members of the public. Appreciate you all coming. So I always say, shop local, eat local, buy local, take care of our businesses. I know sometimes it's a little tough, but try. Every dollar that we spend here in the community, we get a percentage back to help us out with projects and doing things in the community. So again, I want to thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I'm good, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right, Mr. Gady.
Vote. Register to vote.
There you go.
I don't care if you like who I vote or who they don't vote. I don't care. Register to vote. Encourage people to vote. Don't fall for the deal that your vote doesn't count. Don't fall for just vote. Get out and vote. Make sure you get there on time. You know, drag somebody down there, force them to vote, make them go twice, whatever you got to do. You know, whether I agree with whether you voted or not twice or 3 times. I don't care. I encourage you to vote. They're not.
All right. Ms. Cooper.
We had a Zoom call with our auditor today. We're providing some in-person information for them, and they're scheduled to come on site the week of November 4th. So working for Chris has the same challenges as everyone else. He's down 2 auditors. Yeah. Yeah. So he will be handling probably most of our audit stuff. The ERP transition in utilities building, we transitioned to mid-August. It's going great, except when we went to do financials, we found out some of our stuff isn't transferring like it should be, so we have a call. And experienced some issues last week after a Tyler update, so they have another one scheduled this week.
Problem in with it?
Yeah, that's right.
Any questions?
Questions, commissioners? Thank you. City manager.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, the GRT number for the month of July came in at $933,000. Actually, $933,293.07 to be exact. which compares with $865,000 for the same period last year and $1.1 million for the prior month. Our trailing 12-month GRT average is now at $971,000 per month. The Lee County Board of Commissioners will vote this Thursday to provide us with an additional $1 million to fund the full construction of the Lee County Veterans Memorial. This funding will allow us to complete phases 1 and 2. We're awaiting a final construction bid from Ramirez and Sons, and we will be announcing a groundbreaking date soon. The Norley Board votes on the paramedicine agreement this Wednesday. 21% raises for the entire department funded by this plan go into effect in the second week of October. Finally, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, you have before you my August City Manager report, and I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Questions? Quiet crowd, isn't it? I'm sure something will come up later. Yeah, we'll be next. Ms. Ball.
Mayor Commissioner, so meeting with DOT and Constructors Inc. last week. We talked about when they're gonna open up Central, hopefully by the end of this week. They'll open Central, but as soon as they open Central to the east and west direction, yep. And of course, Main will be open, and to that point, they'll close Jefferson and start working their way through that intersection. They're getting the little drain inlet on Central that we asked to, they're getting that in right now. Again, the lights at the intersection won't be done until the final, so it's just gonna be still full way. Just the others will be also. Then they say their now end date is December 20th.
Okay, my standard question, what year?
This year, supposedly, this year.
When did you say again?
December 20th.
December 20th? December 20th.
What are you talking about?
December 20th.
Christmas comes early or what?
No, I'm just looking at the snow, the delays. I'm thinking February 14th. You know, blow me kiss.
I think February, we even calling it close, yeah.
Be nice to be wrong.
So they're moving around a lot with all the stamped concrete in the historical area. We've got one light that has to be adjusted. Base was drilled too low, but simple things we're dealing with, no issues. Other than just, you know, it's still done. I'll have a grant in the action items. Did not receive the mill and bill grants that we applied for the roads. So we need to look at maybe getting with the county or somewhere else where we can see if we can get some funding, because we have some roads that were on those mill and bill projects like Avenue R, Avenue I, Avenue C that are in very, very bad shape. But just a micro seal would not have done them any good. So we did finish our micro seal project. I will be turning in all final documentation once I get my new desk set up. We are moving into the Troy Harris building. So I'll get the funding back for the micro seal. You have any questions?
Question?
I think the only question I had, Crystal, was the schematics on the road. Are you gonna get a full copy of that? Like where all the lines are?
Yes, we will have as-built when the road is completed.
Okay, I mean,
We'll
I just
have
want
where
us to have
every
our
water
own.
line is, every
Okay.
sewer line,
Okay, to have our
every
own.
transfer inlet. Yeah.
I don't want them to say, wait till at the state now.
No,
It needs to
no,
be-
we will get as-built.
Okay, okay. Stored on the cloud. Okay, yeah, stored, okay.
And stored.
And I'll have a hard, and I'll have a hard.
Okay, okay, good.
Anything else?
No, I'm just thinking about the Jefferson intersection. That'll be a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's supposed to go a lot quicker after we get to that point. So.
How many blocks after that? Yeah, quicker than what?
3 more blocks after that.
How many blocks?
From
So
Snell
from,
to Terre.
from
It'll
all
go to Jackson.
the way to Jackson.
The trunk line, the single trunk line
So-
from just past Jefferson, it converts into one trunk line. And then from there, it's only one trunk line of the storm drain on up to Jackson. So there won't be storm inlets on both sides, so that will make it faster, because they don't have two storm drains to put in after Jefferson.
So just so I make sure I understand, from basically today till December 20th of this year, we're going to rip out, put in drainage, repave, open and turn on
And synchronize
Lights.
lights.
before December.
It'll take
That's
3
what
months
they
to do the
say.
lights.
Okay, no, I was just,
That's the plan, yes.
okay,
February's the
okay,
one.
I was just asking stupid
I'm
questions.
just telling you what I
Thank
was.
you.
I was trying to
Scotty.
image in the amount of days and different things like that, so no, it's fine. So,
Okay. We're good. Chief Clark, since you mentioned the lights, have we had any problems there? I haven't noticed any. I mean, other than the trucks taking out the traffic, things like that, but.
The construction area.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, Main and Avenue D.
Yeah.
People have gotten used to it.
Since we put the no turn
Mm-hmm.
signs up, it seems like that solves a lot of problems.
We haven't had any major accidents there? I haven't seen any.
I was thinking about a few trucks come like and turn off a love to miss, or turn on the love to miss it.
Yeah.
the biggest issue seems to be the turn lane that's missing for Love Street.
Oh, yeah.
Because nobody really knows what you're doing when you're turning from the.
From Avenue E to Love.
That's all yellow line, but nobody wants to.
Yeah, they are supposed to restrike that, but they have not, and I did mention it again, and they said they'd see, but again, they weren't bringing the striping company back in till they were ready to stripe again.
I have to get over there in their lane and turn in. Okay.
It's a mess, it is a mess, because some people get in the center, and some people are like, well, you're not supposed to get in the center, because actually the way it's painted, you're not.
I agree with you.
So,
You can be written.
yeah.
All right, we'll get it straightened out. December 20th
So
of
it's-
some year. All right.
Did they ever?
Counselor.
So, Mayor Commissioners don't have anything new, may have a comment or two on what's on the agenda, but happy to stand for any questions.
All right, Commissioners. I see nothing. All right, so let's move on. Brings us to our public comment time. If you have something to address the commission, please step forward to the podium, state your name. Take about 3 minutes, give us what you'd like to hear, and, never mind. Yeah, exactly. All right.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, and members of the board, members of the public. For those that don't know me, my name is Kelly Matthews. I was a former school teacher in Hobbs, taught special education there for the last few years, and I currently work out at Hungry Horse LLC here in Lovington as their OSHA guy. Finding out quick that OSHA is a profane word. But we're moving through it. The purpose of my coming in front of you this evening, I had the opportunity and privilege to meet with Mr. Trio and then today with the city manager as well. I have, in addition to a multitude of things that I do, I also run an online academic vocational and academic program that was geared when it was initially set up for at-risk youth, at-risk adults. Ideally, the long-term goal is for us to create a mobile learning lab environment where we can go out into some of these surrounding communities and reach some of these individuals that need to work on academic or vocational skills for the purpose of just becoming better for their families and better for their communities. Become effective contributing members of their communities. My background is pretty substantial in education. I was the Academic and Vocational Programs Administrator for the Florida Department of Corrections, And, and then over the last several years, I've also worked with all age ranges of individuals ranging from kindergarten all the way up through college and into adulthood. I've learned a lot over the last couple of years in the time that I've lived in New Mexico. And with all due respect, and I'm going to say this, but I say with all due respect, our education system is broken. That's the bottom line. And we're living in a state where we're number 49 out of 50 academically and 50 out of 50 when it comes to school safety. Something needs to change. And one of the ideal ways of hopefully turning that corner is to bring the classroom to the people instead of expecting them to make their way into a classroom. Online programs can be challenging. They're not designed for everyone, but when they are well managed and overseen effectively, they can be something that's going to exceptionally benefit the individual, benefit the family, benefit the communities. Anyway, I took the liberty of laying next to your seat a pen with the information from Academic Foundation 365 on it, along with a small business card. It gives a very brief summary of what our program offers. The phone number on there is my direct personal cell phone number. Feel free to use it. Please don't give it out too liberally, but feel free to make use of it. And then, of course, Academic Foundations 365 at gmail.com is the direct email link for that site. Academic Foundations 365.com is the website. I would encourage you to take a good look at the website, go through it thoroughly. It's going through some changes and some modifications, but the collective information that you really need to know is contained in that website. And if there is any questions or any concerns or any way that you would like to recommend that site be used for the betterment of Lee County and all the surrounding counties, and specifically here in Lovington, please don't hesitate to reach out. Sorry, I promised I would keep it to the 3-minute window, so a lot of information to throw at you at once, I understand. I've introduced the program into Hobbs and met with their commissioners there as well. It's received some really strong, positive support behind it. We just got to figure out the right fit and see what ways that we can take this program and truly benefit our communities and our counties and our state. It is an online program, so obviously it can be accessed anywhere nationally at any time. There is a limited number of seats when it comes to the specifics of studying and preparing for their high school equivalency exams, but the rest of it is pretty much open accessibility anytime. So if there are programs that you would like to see put into this program, then that you think would benefit this community, this region, definitely shoot me an email. Just say, hey, you've got a great thing going here. We'd like to maybe see this. Or you got a good thing going here. Maybe you need to reconsider this. I am a very open-minded person, and I am very, very open to taking this program to new heights. So that's all I have to say, unless you have any questions.
Not at this moment, I don't.
Okay. If you have any questions, again, my phone number is on the card. Email address is on the card. Shoot me any questions you have, and I will do my best to give you any fair and honest answers that I can.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, sorry. I didn't
It's okay.
change that on you. Hi, my name is Laura Suter. I went in front of the plan and zoning on September the 10th at 4 o'clock.
It'll be an action item.
Oh, so I don't need to get up there?
Nope, you beat them.
Well, all right. Good practice.
You're gonna shut them down, Chris. Good job.
Okay.
fault. My bad.
It's-
Come on, Laura.
Anyone further? I see no one moving, so we'll move on. 1, 2, 3. That's right. All right, non-action items. I believe the first one is yours, Mr. Bolt. Oh, it's ours, huh?
Yes, it's ours.
Okay.
Commissioner Bolt called me last week, and he brought up the idea of giving some benefits to the citizens of Lovington that use the RV dump station on Avenue D. His idea was to begin keeping a log essentially of all the people that come in and seeing if they're from Lovington or out of town. If they're out of town, then I believe he proposed to charge them some sort of fee while keeping it free for the citizens of Lovington. So I promised Commissioner Bolt that we'd include this topic today in the discussion items to see what all of you thought about his idea. I've come up with some logistical issues that may arise if we were to start doing that. One of the things right now is that we're free of charge, but the biggest, I think, logistical issue is Maverick is also free of charge. If we were to change hours to cost something, then I believe one of the issues would be we essentially be driving them to business.
Kevin, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Maverick has a dump?
RV dump station, yes.
I didn't realize
It's
that.
very
Okay.
it's free of charge. So one of the things that I thought be
Is it really free? Because I know the ones that, it's free?
Yes,
It's free. Yeah, it's free.
Wow. It's at the back, so it was free, then anybody could open it, dump whatever they wanted to it for the first 3 months till 2 weeks ago. We had issues with it, with people dumping stuff everywhere.
Well, that's been the problem. That was the reason that we locked ours down, yes, so.
See, and that was the reason that I brought it up, but also I was contacted and asked, wanted to get your opinion, wanted to have a discussion and talk about it. Because our city residents, based on our water usage, that's what our bills are on. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
So I don't know what it is at Maverick, how that works. I want to be fair to the residents. And I understand with Maverick offering that, you have people coming in, you have people buying gas, stuff. Not all of them do. Some may just come and might use that, But I don't want to take and say, don't do it anymore, because that's a benefit for the people of Lovington. So what I'm trying to figure out is how can we be fair to the citizens of Lovington, that if we have people coming over there and just using it, how fair is that when our residents have to pay? So.
Right, isn't it right now we have to do a call out? You have to call to, so, it's still free, but you have to call and set up an appointment.
Right.
It's not like the Sunday night, it's 9 o'clock,
No,
I'm dumping my
it's
stuff.
Maverick opened up, we went like from 23, 24 a month to probably 10 a month now, so we're cutting it in half. Everybody's, going over there.
See, the thing is with the city over at the park, that's a perk for the residents here. Because they have to call you up, they have to get a hold of you. I understand somebody's gotta go down there, and open it up, close it up. So like I said, I'm just trying to find a happy medium here and talk about it, because like I said, someone brought it up to me that didn't feel that it was fair. And when somebody brings that up to me, I said, you know what, we need to talk about it. So I'm not opposed to anything. I want to have a discussion on it.
I mean, we could always hold it, we do a log now, whoever goes, it services it, we get their name, address, whatever. If you'd like, we could do something like that on the log, or just, what they have to do, so what?
No, go ahead, finish.
The thing that, the handling of the money and stuff, I don't want to, myself, I don't want to be responsible for anything like that, so do we?
Question. In your experience, if you remember off the top of your head from your logbook, are most of the people that use the RV dump station in LBD Park local or out of town?
Local.
What percentage?
Probably 90%.
We're also talking about very small quantity of people, from 20 a month to now, let's say half. And for that amount of usage, for the trouble that we're going to go through, right? Because now we're going to have to have someone handle money. We're going to need to establish how much we're going to charge, which I'm assuming would involve an ordinance of some sort. And yeah, just what department would this fall under, who would be responsible, things like that. Do we want to keep it on call?
I think the on-call thing is the best way to
It
go
is.
because it's, at least keep an eye on what people are dumping, right? And, you know, that's very important to the plant and everything else. Other than that, it's just a free for all, everybody know whatever they want. As long as, you know, you see what they're dumping, who's dumping.
And that was a concern in Maverick with people being able to go over there and dump, just not knowing what's going in our sewer then.
Yes, sir.
But they've
So
changed it.
I understand that, yeah, they have
So
now,
They've cooperated and
right,
that's supposed to be supervised as well.
right.
So basically doing the same thing we're doing now is, you know, they'll walk there, they'll walk into the store asking for the manager or somebody to go out there with them, say, watch what they dump, why they dump, they'll lock it back up afterwards. So we're doing the same thing there.
The difference between theirs and ours is there's a 24-hour operation where ours is,
Well, it could be 24 hours. I mean, depending on, I've had people call me at 10:30 at night, we come back from hunting, can we dump?
Right.
Let's go do it. You know, it's no big deal for one of us to go up there for 10, 15 minutes, open it up at the dump, keep them happy and do our job. That's not an issue. The issue, I think, would be having the money. Myself, I don't want to deal with any of the money stuff.
Or you can always just get their name and number, where their actual residence is at, and bill the residents,
To the residents.
you know, directly to the residents.
You could
Their
just-
driver's license.
tell them to call me, I'll take the cash. I won't tell you we're just free dumping, but I'm gonna get a skim off of that. I knew there would come a time when this job paid off.
There you go.
But you know, on the flip side of that, we are trying to do that thing that the wastewater plant deal, this first phase of, what we're trying to do is that, the RV dump thing, so, you know, it's.
But we still wouldn't be manned 24 hours, right? If the way we are operating now, we still wouldn't be 24 hours.
No, sir, it'd be the same thing, on call or.
Right.
That's the only really way to do it, that having it wide open for everybody to do.
And we have too many problems with that.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, the other thing is with Maverick doing it, how are they being billed by the city? Are they or are they not?
It would be just a commercial, because their water usage is tied to their sewer. Right? We don't meter the sewer usage. So it's just strictly like everyone else. It's based on their water usage.
No, I'm talking about, does Maverick use much water?
I don't know off the top of my head, honestly, in regards to those numbers, but they wouldn't be billed for what Commissioner Boyd is talking about, right? There, in theory,
That's my question there.
That's why,
I want to be fair.
Yeah, in theory, there could be infinite waste going down there right now, right, and they would not be billed for.
Right.
Because of the
You know,
way
that's going through our equipment and everything else and.
And we have no control over it. That's the big one. And really no track. All we can do is make it extremely difficult on Maverick, who is providing a community service.
Yes.
However, as we've seen, the biggest problem is it's the abusers. It's not the users, it's the abusers that we have problems with. So,
Well, in
okay.
that situation, you would almost, if there's blockage due to careless use of the deal, then you would almost have to charge that back to them, you know, for the maintenance of it, to justify that cost of, you know, we don't really know how much sewage is going down, but if it's blocked and that's the only place it comes from, I'm supposing, you know.
Yeah, that line's a single line, that's the only line that goes from Maverick, it's a single.
So, you know, if you're having to box that one out, then that would have to be a maintenance deal. To me, that makes sense, you know, to justify extra usage and cost of manpower and everything like that. You know, that's about the only way I can weigh it out.
Yeah, I said, you know, they are a business, they are offering the community, they are selling gas, nuclear gas tax, you know, GRT, so.
How do you juggle the cost
Yeah,
of
weigh
the
it
fuel
out,
plus
yeah.
the gross receipts plus all the other things that
That's why
we
I wanted
benefit from their services in the community? You know, so, but, I mean, and you figure most of the RVs are dumping anywhere from 30 to 50 gallons of waste byproduct, you know, so depending on how full it is. So they would.
Yeah, I just don't want to say, okay, we ain't gonna do it anymore, you know, that was a perk that we were offering the citizens of Lovington that do have trailers, campers, RVs. Gives some time to think about it.
Kevin, are you going to?
At this point, I'm just seeking guidance from you on what to do and where to go from here in terms of, do you want us to research some sort of ordinance or some sort of things that other cities may have done? Or do we want to keep it as how it is now? That's essentially.
Yeah, but the whole point has always been, you don't want to ever run something at a loss. You know, and it's just like Robert had said, if a guy has to get up at the middle of the night, what is this? He's gonna charge the city 2 hours at least, no matter minutes to call out. So we gotta factor all this cost into it, and I think just bill directly to the homeowner's house, and that way he just jots down the information and goes directly to his water bill, you know, at a rate that covers the cost of manpower.
You're talking about this for all citizens, for all homes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just an idea to put together. I mean,
The city of Hobbs, I reached out to city of Hobbs today, see if they let me do this for you, but they don't have
They don't have a dump? Well, what I'm, in this discussion, what I'm seeing happen is, no matter what we come up with, if there's a cost associated, they're gonna go out there. So, do we redirect our focus and say, okay, Maverick is gonna be the dump, and then we try to work out something with them now?
Service fee.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know how to put this in the correct words, but, okay, so we charge a fee, it forces them out there, we charge them a fee cleaning the mess out, then they're stuck charging a fee. So the question would be is, you need to check with maybe, because I know like Pilot and different things in Lubbock, when I've had to use those places, they charge a fee for dumping, you know, I don't remember, it's $5 or whatever that is. So there is a fee incurred for that. So, you know, in that case, you almost force them saying, okay, if you're using this line, the repair and maintenance or whatever you have to do will be billed back to you due to the fact we have no way to tie it to a water bill or anything else that says, okay, so Maverick uses with their cafe, their restrooms and all that stuff. We'll just say they use $300, but they're done with $600 of waste. You know, doesn't really add up. So just something to consider.
The thing is, do you go out after hours?
Yes, sir, we do. Saturdays and Sundays, if people go hunting, camping, you know, like, hey, can we meet you up in 20 minutes or an hour or whatever? Just go do it.
So that goes on overtime?
Knowing Robert, he probably wouldn't charge it, but,
No, if
it was
it's
my
30 minutes or
understanding,
less, we don't charge for it.
it was my understanding that we were just gonna do it during business hours. When
Right.
they would come over from the wastewater treatment plant, unlock it, and watch them and go back.
I would recommend that they probably do it during business hours.
I think so.
But most of our calls are after hours.
But yeah, that's the same thing. I never come in during business hours. It's just always a weekend, 2 o'clock in the morning, swing through there, dump that and go. So, yeah,
Well, I'm looking at it from a perspective that, so you go out there after hours, some get on the ground there, you slip and fall and hurt yourself.
Are you on the clock?
There you go.
To be compensated, to have your workers' comp, you have to be.
There you go.
You cannot be.
Robert does it to accommodate because it's nice.
Trust me, I understand. I know Robert. I understand 100%. You give the shirt off his back to anybody. I understand that, but there's other things you have to look at too.
I mean, it's whatever,
Yeah.
whatever, just making it, if I make it easier, keep people from calling and complaining, because it's not open, there's no level.
We reopened that as a convenience to our citizens. Okay? we now have a convenience to our citizens thanks to a new business. Okay, what if we shut down ours? We help monitor there, not monitor what's going on, but see what the problems that incur from them being a primary, and then get with them and start working on a solution where, again, I mean, this is just, if there's one that's open and is monitored, then in reality, there's no reason for us to have one as a convenience where.
Monitoring from their part, I mean, are we having them call us when somebody goes out to see what's
No,
going
no,
on?
no. When I'm talking, that monitoring is, all of a sudden they start having a lot of sewer problems, and you start getting rags, you start getting congealed grease, you start getting things that obviously then.
So,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but it's just the thought. So where are we maintaining that line at? Are we maintaining it from their dispatch, or are we maintaining it at our
We're
line?
maintaining it from our line.
From our line. So they're not having problems with their line that way.
The problems have been from their line to ours. That's where the problems have been these last 3 weeks.
So the transfer over there.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's them rental hauling guys. They got dumped this somewhere.
2 o'clock in the morning, they're dumping this.
Yeah. That's and then for us to that's private industry. We're right there monitoring.
We don't mess with anything from the highway.
I'm not.
So that's supposed to be documented, and those guys are supposed to be, there's supposed to be a
Exactly.
paper trail longer than what we have to do for our wastewater.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's a whole different.
But you also have to consider, if you start charging people, it's gonna be like the old days, soon as.
They'll go out and dump it down a dirt road, lumping it while they're driving down the dirt
We'll
road.
find out where it's at.
Down your
It's gonna be
street.
real green right there where they dump it.
They'll still do it.
Not good for
It'll be a problem.
It's just like the furniture issue we have, the tire issue, the parked cars, the trucks, just the mountain of, we're making a mountain of.
Robert, is our goal still ultimately to get it to the POTW as far as the city dump station?
Yes, sir. That's the goal.
That's the goal.
Yes, sir.
Okay, how far away are we from that goal? Don't talk dollars, time-wise.
A year? Maybe. Hopefully sooner, because we need it just to be on our side too.
Because if we could make it a true convenience station during operating hours, it would be monitored. We could even assist and back in the day, the sewer suckers or whatever they were that used to go dump there. I know that for a fact. That may be the solution for our local citizens. After that, if it's gonna be out of towners and they're gonna be a problem, then if Maverick gets that, they're just gonna have to deal with it. It'll be their problem, so. You're the expert here because you're the only one that's dealing with it, so.
I mean, I don't, it's whatever we need to do. If you want to shut down Avenue Park, we can. That'll help us on that part. But, at the same time, people are gonna start complaining. Why do we have to go over there? Why do we have to do this? It's always a.
Well, they were complaining that they had to go to Hobbs. We have solved that problem.
We're
So-
just trying to get everybody from complaining, you know what I'm saying? That's why.
Oh, Lord, yeah, we'll get good luck for that.
I got a question. I don't know that it would even be feasible, but how do people open gates? They have to put a code in, right? You can put a code in, you can open a gate.
Well, they cut the locks over there at Avenue Park.
Well, what I'm asking is, can you do a thing where they have to swipe their debit card and that collects the fee, and then that is what unlocks the dump, and then you have cameras that are monitoring it, that are recording from each direction?
That's an idea, but at the same time, you're not into anything at the parks or anything where else people go by and it's done. You spend all this money after it's gone in 2 weeks. Sure. And it's where they build it, it's everywhere you go. It could get destroyed.
Not to shut it down that way, but that's the reality, that's the way it has to happen. And then the cost of the machine and everything else, you're looking at $50,000, hookup, $100,000, whatever. And then.
And we charge $3 to $5.
Yeah, my God, we're getting rich. I'm saying, just let me go there.
That's like everything else, you don't make the money until years down the road.
You can have a little kiosk, just like McDonald's, you just pick what you want.
Pick what you want it done.
And then again, I'm not trying to shut it down.
Well, none of us are, I mean, we're trying to come up with a solution and,
We just come up with work ideas.
well, city manager, unfortunately, this all kind of drops back on you, so.
So glad to hear that, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
We're open to a solution, I just don't have a solution, yeah.
As of right now, we probably won't come up with a solution, so we can go back and probably look at the log that they keep, seeing how many people out of town use it.
Yeah.
Seeing how many people are using it regularly.
Do a study.
And then also just kind of go talk to Maverick and see what they're doing in regards to monitoring and if
Are
they're
they
willing
logging?
to, yeah, if they're even willing to keep a log to kind of help us out, you know?
And like you said, the thing is with Maverick, if it gets based on their water usage, and they're using 5 gallons of water compared to
600 gallons of
waste. How's that?
Yeah.
Working out for the city of Lovington residents?
That would just be cool. That's not including gray water. So,
Exactly.
I mean, you're 50 gallons of black, 50 gallons of gray, or 60 gallons.
Yeah.
So there's 110 gallons every load. So, I mean, I would definitely look at like some of the different bigger truck stops or different for that you have a cost saving or cost, estimated cost of operations there, what they're having to do. Other cities that handle this, so.
Okay.
And then you got water, but you're not gonna fill the tank back up. You're just gonna wash that stuff out. So, you know, you'll have a few, but you already have the excess water from wherever you got that water from, whether it be locally or from somewhere else. So.
And there's also a hole there at Maverick, you could fill up your tank if you wanted to.
That's what I'm trying
See,
to tell
they're
him,
paying for that.
they're getting water.
That's
there.
all.
So you're saying
That's on their
the water
meter.
run all the way?
That's why I'm-
They fill up their tank, it's on their meter.
It's on their meter, how they spray out, it's on
It's
the
on
meter.
Maverick's meter.
We have the same thing with this, we have those.
Well,
But we're saying the cost effectiveness of Maverick.
I had extended an invitation to the manager here, and we just haven't been able to come to the commission, and so let me get back with him and see if he would come in, and maybe we can continue this discussion. He may have a lot more information than, or he or she, I could have more information and maybe help assist with problems and the solutions.
It's based on the fact that they're from Utah, a lot of people doing camping and different things out of that. So they probably run into this situation in other communities.
But we definitely need logs. I think that's very important because if they flush something. Come on.
That was-
Paper mayor, paper log. Mr. Mayor, you asked him to rethink the terminology.
See what I gotta do? But definitely that, because you will know as a plant over there, if they flush something down that kills all the bacteria in there that kills what it is. I mean, it's happened through the old cheese plant when they used to do that. And then we'd have to start all over back there and it cost thousands of dollars. I don't want something like that to happen. And so I'm saying they need a law, because if something does happen and it falls back on them, they're responsible for paper trail.
So for the meantime, you want us to keep that one?
That doesn't get any better.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. I was gonna ask Patrick if he had any ideas on this.
I guess I would look at it and see, like, you know, where we are in the scheme of things, of problems and issues to deal with. I don't know, this is the first that's ever come to my attention. I do see the fact that, you know, they may use very little water, and in exchange for maybe a lot of people dumping it, I don't really know. But there are some benefits to having them.
Right.
And so I guess you know, the first thing I would do is go back and look at the plans that they submitted to the city. Did they tell us they were gonna do this? And if they did, then I guess we need to just meet with them and say, hey, we realize there may be an issue. Let's at least keep this on our radar and, you know, kind of see where we are. I don't know.
I would say business as usual
Until
our city manager comes up with some plan.
Thank you, gentlemen. Shannon, I would like to have the minutes note that Commissioner Trujillo would like a detailed account of the loss.
Yeah, paper loss.
Toilet paper
Okay.
trail.
There you go. And that's just a joke. It was really just a joke. Okay, so. All right, moving on. Okay, I know that y'all are coming up, but I didn't know if anybody else was involved too. So. All right.
Mayor and Commissioners, before we get started, Code Enforcement Division is thankful for all the departments within the city and all the businesses and residents of Lovington. Property owners, I want to talk about the property at 403 North Second. Property owners Michael and Johnny Cooper. Michael was found deceased in his RV there. The date of my inspection was you know what, let me start over. The dates of inspections. The first one was December 8th, 2016 by Crystal Ball. The second one was Laura Brock, June 21st, 2021. Again, she did another inspection, Ms. Brock, which was June 25th, 2021. Thereafter, I did my inspection April 30th, 2024. On May 8th, 2024, excuse me, on May 8th, 2024, no communication from property owners to Code Enforcement or to the city. I had posted a 10-day payment notice along with the Lovington Municipal Codes in violation to this property. I also tagged vehicles that were at this property, which was, okay, these are the code enforcement, the municipal code in question. Well, they're not in question, they, you know.
Me Hooper's house.
Right.
Mickey Hooper.
Right.
Is that right? Hooper? Yeah.
Michael, nickname Mikey.
Okay.
So maintaining and help, and then removal of nuisance by the city. Notice to abate escape of noxious gases. So once I have done an inspection of this property, I was called out by the PD that I was needed because there was a lot of junk. There's an RV. You know, I didn't know what I was stepping into with this property. In the month of April 2024, the inspection was done by Code Enforcement Division and found that this property had a truck, van, RV, and a burnt home with lots of scattered junk. The home and RV it has actually still a awful smell, such as cat urine and the deceased body smell coming out from the RV. Code Enforcement and PD, LPD had electric company come out and disconnect the electric because that's all that was on. It was a hazard due to the burnt home. It's unknown when the home had burnt. There's no record of it, but you could tell it had been burnt. This is supposed to be the carport.
The pickup and the van were towed away May 9th, 2024. As you can see, this pickup is full of cat food cans.
Oh, Lord.
And that's all you can see on the property, cat food cans. Lots and lots.
I'll give you a little bit of history. I was in this house over 40 years ago. And it smelled of cat urine, and in the living room, there were the little tents everywhere in that house. I was delivering an appliance back then, so it's got 50 years worth of, stuff, so.
So this is the RV that Mr. Hooper was found. After receiving the call from the neighbors reporting an awful smell, LPD went out and discovered a deceased body, which was Mr. Hooper's. This is the backyard of 403 North Second. It currently still has a dead cat, a deceased cat, in the backyard. There's lots of weeds and junk.
That's the backside is where that big fire occurred.
So you can kind of see still the burnt home. You can,
Skip, you don't know when it burned?
I was actually looking on our system. I want to say it was like 2016, 2017. That's what I was telling him. It's been like 7, 8 years ago, because I know I was still battalion chief on shift when that burned, because it was snowing outside. It was cold, snowy.
Well, they're trying to keep warm.
I remember.
They were warm for a little bit.
This is how 403 North Second looks like today. This is the current picture. So expressed from the residents from the city of Lovington, LPD, and Code Enforcement Division is to consider approval for property cleanup and home and RV demolition. Keep in mind that not only is this property a nuisance, but also this property is neighboring a public school about 1 block away. This is all. Any questions?
It's an extreme health hazard. I mean, I don't know. I've been in that house over the last 20 years. I've been to PD numerous times. And you can't hardly stand to go into that house.
Yeah. Well, they haven't lived in that house in 25 years.
Since the fire.
Oh,
They were living in it.
They were living in it when the fire
Fire
happened.
happened? Oh, really?
Yes,
Okay.
and then they,
You walk in, there were refrigerators that didn't even work, that were full of cat food.
I delivered one.
Probably the one you delivered.
I'm
was
sure it's still there, yeah.
Probably the only one working.
Okay, do we know to my knowledge, Mickey didn't have any children or whatever.
No.
And this was, if I remember, it was his parents' home originally.
Yes.
It's been a long time. Do we know the status of the ownership of it?
The deed is under Mr. Hooper's and Miss Hooper's. So now it falls under Miss Hooper's, but she's like a ghost right now. She's nowhere to be found.
Last we heard, when Michael died, Mickey died, we took her to the hospital because he'd been dead for weeks, and she was in the RV with him the whole time. And the drugs had basically eaten on her to the point to where she had to go to the hospital. She went to the hospital. She had some mental illness. They transferred her to Roswell. She was over there for a period of time. And the last I heard that they put her in a shelter of some sort, and she walked out of there. So it's unknown where she's at. Through I think it's a second, third cousin of Mickey, who lives in Santa Fe. I talked to him numerous times, and he's the only living relative that I know that's so far away that he's never had any contact with him whatsoever. Johnny, her family comes out of Oklahoma. We called numerous communities around where she lives just to see if there was any living relatives of her over there. couldn't find any living relatives of her. So she's the only living person that's on the deed that we can't get locate. We listed letters, registered letters,
Yes.
returned, nothing. I asked the state inspector to see if he'd go in there and condemn it. State won't let them do that, put their name on something like that.
Well, just to be clear, we're not asking to condemn it. We can tear this house down under Operation Cleanup, I believe, and avoid any issues with anti-donation. We have the funds.
Right.
Question is, every time under Operation Cleanup, we've had the permission of the owner to raise the property or the house, the structure.
So I think as a property owner in Lovington, New Mexico, you're charged with notice of what comes out in the local newspaper. So I think with the information we have, we could go through the process. You know, normally when we look at this as far as a nuisance issue, it would be, let's say, weeds and maybe some things in the yard. And so from the nuisance standpoint, we could take certain actions. I think the condemnation, we could take a look at the other provisions we have about dilapidated buildings. And so there's a little bit different process for that. But either way, with the information we have, I think we could advertise in the local paper, whether you want to do that in Lovington and Hobbs. But I think it's also not a bad idea to advertise in Roswell, kind of cover all bases. It's cheap insurance. And then we're probably not going to get a response, and then we can move forward with the process. But I think what we need to identify is, does the commission want to address what's in the yard as far as a nuisance, or do the commission actually want to continue and take a look at it from the overall condition of the home? And more than likely, the cost, and I don't know what the cost will be current, but more than likely the cost associated with raising that is probably going to be greater than what the lot would be worth afterwards. So you start to get a good ratio between the cost to take care of it and the actual cost of the building. And so you have some different options there. But we just need to get an idea of what, the commission would like to see. And we look at cost. Is there asbestos associated with this or not? The fact that it's down the street from a school, and the fact that the neighbors are probably putting up with some pretty unpleasant living conditions, all of that kind of factors in. But what's important about it is that, we sent notice out starting in 2016 and really didn't follow up on it. It's maybe not an emergency today. So I would make sure we take the right steps to get it addressed and follow through just to cover our bases. But I think, the other issue, I know OMI was looking at the RV trailer, and I don't know, Joe and I talked a little bit about it. I don't know if we've hauled that off and moved it, or if OMI has taken the position that, hey, potentially, and I'm not, drawing any conclusions, but potentially that could be a crime scene, depending on what OMI determines as the cause of death. So I hate to haul that thing off, clean everything up out of the yard, and then have OMI say, hey, time out, this was a homicide, we need to go back and take a closer look. But like I said, I'm not suggesting that, I'm just saying that's one of the things we just need to consider. And, OMI might say, hey, we'll have a decision in a week, or it's gonna take us a couple months. And if the risk, the health risk, not necessarily the eyesore, but if the health risk to the neighbors or school kids is great enough, then that gives us something to, start moving forward a little bit quicker. But it's really important before we start taking steps to get some kind of feedback of, do we want to just clean up the yard and the RV, or do we want to go ahead and take care of the house also? So
The thing is, on Operation Cleanup, what's the criteria on the
So it's
buildings?
gotta
Because I thought before was that if there was evidence or that it was a crime.
Criminal activity
No,
or a menace to public safety or welfare. I think health hazard type of thing.
Okay.
I can, by doing other Operation Cleanup sites, I can guesstimate on this house if we were to do the whole thing, without asbestos, because that obviously is a lot more, it would probably cost $10,000 using city street department to tear it down, and the only cost to us is the roll-offs from waste management. So it's probably about 20 roll-offs.
Waste management donate any roll-offs or not?
They had 10, that we're gonna use right now for our parks project. They're spoken for already. But next year we get another 10, so we can put it towards this, but we have funds, we have about $19,000 left, I believe, in the Operation Cleanup Fund. 9, okay, so we have just enough. But, and we can test it for asbestos. I think,
What was the date of the deceased?
December.
This past December?
Oh, no, May.
And they've already got the.
Okay, well, have we checked into the, property tax situation on it?
Yes, it's all paid up.
Of course it is, because if it was close to being tax sale, then we could wait till the new owner picked it up and then say, okay, you've got a problem.
Michael Hooper actually would walk in there and give payment. If he couldn't, he was ill, he would give a payment over the phone. I just wanted to let you guys know I did advertise this in the newspaper in Lovington, back in May. As soon as this happened, the 10 days were, lapsed, that's when I wasn't getting any response from certified letters. You see, the certified letters, first ones came from Crystal Ball, then Lord Brock, then I'm the fourth for this year.
We're gonna cover our bases and just, because we're pretty sure this is probably the Roswell.
Right now,
Do the Roswell
it's not
paper.
secure, so there's like security requirements, we need to board up the windows at least if we're not gonna do anything, we need to, the stuff is flying away, that, the piece of roof, just Friday, it was a little windy, you can see it's dangling back and forth, sorry. It's dangling back and forth, like, it's gonna come off and it's gonna hit somebody. Now, this place is right in the corner.
And everybody knows this location. Well, I think we follow, Counselor's advice in that let's do a thorough check, see if there's any reason not, again, this being different because we will not have a property owner approval. So.
As far as advertising, I would do Albuquerque, Roswell, anything within about a 100-mile radius. That would cover your bases, wouldn't it?
What's gonna be important though is, do we advertise and say, there's a nuisance, here's our nuisance law? Or do we advertise and say, here's our dilapidated building law? And so we need to get some feedback from the council to Laura to say, not just advertise, but what are we advertising and what are we gonna do? Because there's different notices that come out in the advertising. If I get hey, your weeds are too tall, and then you show up with a bulldozer, well, I'm gonna be unhappy. So that's what we need, is the council to say, what do we wanna see happen? Give Laura some direction, then we can advertise. So that's really that's the tough issue.
When I did advertise that it was, everything I listed here, that's what I advertised. And I actually, I gave the newspaper a copy of, all the descriptions. So the newspaper that time was pretty long. I should have brought it.
And I think, I'll go back to what Mayor said, let's just take legal counsel's advice and whatever he recommends, let's go with that. He knows the law.
Well, he's asking us, are we doing the nuisance?
That's what he's asking for.
Or are we
Yeah,
doing
I mean,
the dilapidated building? I would do the dilapidated building because it's a health and safety hazard. The nuisance, nobody's gonna, that building's still gonna be there.
I'm just saying, what does he recommend? And he would know.
Hang on just a second.
He'd be the one representing us if something goes south.
I think you could go either way. And so I think what we need to take into consideration is that if we sent notices out in 16 and 18 and 19 and 21 and haven't really followed up with what comes after those notices, it's not on Laura, that's on us because we didn't move forward. Generally, we didn't move forward because of the cost. But in this instance, I think you could look at it as long as there's not going to be an issue with OMI and advertise to do both. And then you could, see what happens from there. I think I think I would be very unhappy if I lived next to them. I also want to make sure though that, you know, since we've been dealing with this since 2016, we take the steps that we need to make sure it's done right. And so if you want, we can craft an advertisement that says, here's our dilapidated building ordinance, you need to follow that. And here's our nuisance ordinance, you need to follow that also. And then move forward. But that's what we needed from council is, what do you want to see happen?
You want to cover all the bases.
If that's what you guys want to do.
Well,
If it was me, I would say, yeah, especially if I live
Yeah,
next to it.
absolutely.
But I'm not the elected official, so.
Well, I was gonna say we take for sure the dilapidated building.
Okay.
I can clean up a yard with a bulldozer.
Yeah.
But I can't knock a house down with a weed eater.
Patrick, you think we're okay? in
You know,
terms
there's a
of
lot of employees.
Anti-donation because of the benefits of the greater
Well,
community.
I think if we're gonna move forward as far as that, and that's a good point that Crystal just brought up, there's a different process for moving forward on, you know, a dilapidated structure. The criminal activity that we see in some of these other houses was criminal activity, dealing drugs and, you know, fencing stolen property, so we don't have that same kind of criminal activity.
Yeah.
We have a method to move forward with that already. We didn't have a method to take care of a house that had criminal activity. So we already have something on the books. And if we decide, and it seems like council is giving Laura some direction, hey, let's deal with the whole house, then we can move forward with that and wrap it all up with that particular process. So we just need some direction of what issue you want to address. And so I think we have that. So it's not that hard to put together.
Yeah, because our code states that you guys can bring in a resolution that actually we can then tear down this building because it's a public, due to public health, peace, safety, anything like that, you can require the removal of the building. All you have to do is do a resolution, then of course we file that resolution's advertised. And we know the owners aren't getting anything, but then we advertise it in those around in papers, and that'll make this a legal action.
Which is a different process than just a notice of abatement of nuisance.
Yeah, sooner the better.
All right.
Okay. Do you feel like, did we answer it well enough, are you, at this point?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say advertise all of it and then we'll proceed forward.
Yeah, because it sits on 2 lots.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So we have to bring a resolution first, right?
Yeah, you'd have to bring a resolution. They have to approve a resolution.
Resolution has to be approved first. We can do that next.
Yes, yeah, we'll have to.
Yes, the other situation is the lot, really, the corner lot, it's 2 lots, so the corner lot belongs to someone else. It's not the same property owner, so those property owners, I couldn't get a hold of them as of yet. You know, that's another property owner that's just, can't get a hold of, but see, like, everything's going on to theirs also, so since it's not fenced, I just wanted to let you guys know it's a different property owner also.
Yeah,
No, I realize that.
But there's no actual building on that property,
But
it's
there
just
would-
trash.
Yeah.
So you can do the abatement with the trash, and we have that in our code too. So that wouldn't be an issue.
All right.
Different form,
Yeah.
different type of advertising.
Get it all done at one time, both lots, that way we're not having to go back up there
Yeah.
twice, that way we can
Yes.
level and clean everything out, and that way,
Then we just
from
got
a
this
cost
one.
standpoint. Yeah.
Okay.
Chief?
So if we check with online and no issues with the trailer, we can do asbestos checks, we can do all our advertisements, and can we put it on the agenda for,
Can't you just remove the trailer because it's a vehicle? If they say okay?
no, no. No, if you get even close to that trailer, you'd say, I don't want nothing to do with it. It needs to be chewed up and moved. Burned.
But it's something that we need to make sure, OMI's not gonna say, hey,
I can check.
it's really important, let's go back and see what's in there.
Better.
All right, Lane.
Never mind, I just knew that Ray Ann Rice, who was related to Mrs. Cooper. She has 2 sons, but she says none of those names are on.
Right, on the property.
That's just one thing I was gonna say.
Okay, sorry, yeah, we were,
That's fine, that's
Lot
fine.
going on there.
I didn't know, but I wanted to bring that up.
okay. Okay, this moves us to our action item.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for resolution 2024-091. Budget adjustments for fiscal year 24-25, first quarter.
All right, motion and second to just the budget adjustments. I would guess this is yours.
It's me.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
So this is your, what it looks like. Your, the adjustments we received the firefighter recruitment fund, so we need to create that fund. And Tyler will be Fund 210, and DFA gave us their fund. So we have the revenues and the expenses, so it's a zero sum addition to the budget, but we just need to put those funds in there. And then there's a couple of things that were on me where I put things in the DFA budget, so they're just, I need to move the 900,000 from one fund to another that we received from Lee County. And then somehow I put a contribution revenue of 35,000 in 21700 that does not exist, so I just need to take it out of the DFA budget that was submitted. And then, as David mentioned, we had about $9,000 left in Operation Cleanup that we did not include in the original budget. So we need to add that into the line item. And the Maddox grant carryover amount was, we included the revenues, but we did not include the expenses. So this is to put the expense side, and that we weren't quite sure how much we had rolling over. So this is the amount that we had left that we need to put into expenses. And I just need to move, another thing in DFA, I just need to move the 2,000 that was accidentally put in telecommunications to communications. Just put it in the wrong spot in our DFA. And then the LCCA invoice that we had mentioned that was from 2022-3. We have paid that, so we need to put that into the budget to increase those expense line items for those in various departments. It's divided between police, fire, ambulance, and animal control. And then software, we just didn't include expenses in the youth center, and somehow police I left y'all off too, and software, which is, I don't know how that happened. So we just need to add those in. So the total change is it's going to reduce our net income by $415,192.08. So if you look at the bottom of our actual DFA budget recap, we were initially with the $311,941 net income. This change will lead us to a net loss of $103,521, which essentially is about the LCCA invoice.
So why are we, with the Maddox grant, looking in your notes here, the Maddox Youth Center successfully expended all funding, why are we moving that over?
That's just the expenses weren't in the budget. We used them, but they weren't in the original budget and the expense side. They were put into the revenue side, but not the expense side. Well, basically it was revenue that carried over. But when we did the budget, we didn't know exactly how much had been paid out to vendors and how much we had left to spend on that budget. So that 233 is for that.
I'm just trying to figure out on your water enterprise, why is it such a big deficit?
That's later on.
Okay, that later on, okay.
Yeah,
So
right
I'm
over the
ahead.
budget adjustment.
Okay.
You're ahead.
That's all I'm
That's
looking
later
for.
on.
Where's the negatives at?
Yeah, that's later on.
Okay.
My question is on that Maddox, going back to it again, I understand it's washed.
It's not really a wash.
Well, how do we, lots of this,
She just has to put in and out.
right? How do we not know what we were spending?
We did, we just didn't have, when we did this budget in like May, we didn't know, and when I redid it in the final, I didn't address that, I didn't think about it. When we had it originally, we weren't sure in May, and then when we redid it in July, it's just something I didn't even put in, didn't even think about it, that we needed to put the expense in, because we hadn't put any revenues or expenses, but we had received the revenue, and I just forgot about putting the expenses in when we did the budget in July, when we did the final.
Any other questions? Does that complete everything that you had on this particular item?
I know this might be out of the box of questions, but when we started our day one of our new fiscal year, did we have anything in the deficit on any department that we had to cover?
Well, we have several departments, the youth center, senior center, the cemetery, a little bit on motor vehicles. We have several departments that budgeted have to transfer to cover the operating costs for those.
For the new fiscal year, right, but it all started with zero. Right.
But we had a $311,000 plus. We were gonna be in the plus on the original budget.
So everybody started at zero is what you're saying, right? So there's no.
Yeah, and if we didn't have the LCCA, we'd still be at zero. But that's.
Okay, no, that's fine. I just want to make sure.
As we
everybody
go
started
through
by-
the year though, and this isn't the only adjustment we're gonna have anyway.
Right, and we, as David said, we're running right ahead on gross receipts
We'll have
tax.
unrealized income so we can offset the loss, but we will make an
Yeah.
adjustment.
Keep knocking on everything.
But I prefer not to use it. I mean, if you're managing like you're supposed to manage, you're supposed to. You shouldn't have to dig into other revenue.
And there's gonna be unrealized expenses and unrealized revenues.
Absolutely.
Later on, there's gonna be a budget adjustment for one that helps our budget, like $75,000. Because we've got a grant, so.
The GRT number we based the budget off of came out to be 863,000 a month, I think. So.
Yeah, so we'll have we're already running quite a bit above that number.
Yeah.
In our
See this
budget, so.
contribution, 35,000, that was for the city man. I think since he knew there was gonna be extra, he was gonna and then it was. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
No problem, assist on that one.
That's right. Try to find that log. Okay, any further questions?
I already have several notations for second quarter, like we already have, new ones
Alright.
that'll be coming up next
Shannon?
quarter.
I have something to say after we do the roll call.
Okay. You can say it before, if you want to.
Okay, well, just that y'all need to sign the budget adjustment resolution, each one of y'all do, so don't.
Before they leave tonight.
Yes.
Thank you.
Commissioner Bowles,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo.
Yes.
Commissioner White.
Yes.
Commissioner Gainer.
Yes. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for resolution 2024-092, single RV as a temporary special use permit.
We have a motion and a second?
Second.
Oh, all right, we have 2 seconds.
Oh, okay.
And you're good.
Liz,
Okay. All right, Ms. Ball, I would imagine this is probably yours.
Yep, this is me. So we have a request to do a special use permit for a single RV. What has happened is we had owners come in, they had gotten approval for a non-conforming for a mobile home. We found 2 RV spaces in their backyard. They were able to move 1 RV out immediately. And, it's never been an RV park. It's not proper size to be an RV park. They don't charge for the spaces. It's been family and friend use type thing. But what they need the temporary special use for is to relocate the family that's currently living in the RV. They are asking for at least 1 year to get this family relocated it somewhere else that they can afford to live. Laura Suter is the owner of the property, and if you want to come up and have any, do you guys, yeah, you want to come up and give your spew now?
Now it's my turn.
Okay.
I did go in front of the board, planning and zoning on the 10th of this month and asked them to give me at least a year to help my nephew and them find a place. So that's what I'm asking for, is at least a year.
And the planning and zoning did approve it. Of course, it has to get you guys' final approval that they did give temporary special use for 1 year, is what they recommended.
Right, and the reason why I'm asking for a year is the intentions are they will be moving into my mother's house when she passes away. And she's sick, and so I'm sure she will be here within a year. So.
Any questions?
It does sit on commercial property, right, Crystal?
Do what?
Does it sit on commercial property, right? There's that.
Yes, it is commercial property.
I just want the rest of the board to know that it
Yeah.
is commercial.
It is
It's
a
just not
commercial property.
residential area.
It's not, the property is very clean. It's not junked up. It's not like, yeah, it's not a problem property. And I guess that's why these RVs have lived in unnoticed by code, because it's not a junky property. It's clean, it's well kept, maintained. The electrical and everything was done legally.
Right.
Because electricians don't have to come get a permit to put in an RV hookup in the backyard. So, you know, when those are done, we don't know nothing about it.
Because at one point in time, that's what we had. My dad had 2 RVs there, and then the house, the mobile home that they had there. So he had 2 RVs that he was for family and then friends and stuff like that. So, and then we've done everything that Crystal's asked. There was a storage unit right beside it. We've moved in 15 foot away. Now we've brought in a new mobile home, and it's 35 foot from the mobile home to the RV, so we've got more room now between them as far as fire hazard and stuff like that.
So as far as the RV, you have insurance on it and everything?
I have no idea. It's not mine, it's my nephew's, so.
We have no code that makes us check that, even in RV parks.
Yeah.
There's no code that says they have to have an insured RV.
I was just wondering when I'm living in it.
Yeah. People live in them everywhere.
Yeah.
I know the mobile home has insurance, and as far as the property.
But that is why, because of fire safety hazard, why I had them move the shed away from it. Had to be so many feet from everything, and it does have clear boundaries around it. They have done everything we've asked to make it a less of a hazard. If it caught on fire, nothing else around it is gonna catch, so.
Any other questions? Okay, hearing none. Shannon?
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo?
Yes.
Commissioner Bowe?
No.
Commissioner Dandy?
Not a fan, but I'm gonna say yes.
Mayor Roberts?
Glad you went that way, because then I was gonna be the bad guy in this thing, so, or a good guy, one of the two. So.
Yeah, good guy.
All right, yes. All right. Thank you, Mr. We appreciate you.
Let's figure out where I'm at here. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for resolution 2024-093, appointments to planning and zoning board. Apparently, the person I was told was done was not done, Brian Cooper. Oh, and, man, what am I gonna do? Smile a little bit. There you go, okay. And Elaine B. Hill. Second.
If we have a motion. All right. Who's taking the lead?
Shannon.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were waving at me.
I missed Elaine V. Hill when we were doing what we did last meeting. And Mr. Cooper, when they went to the meeting, he said, I never said that. I didn't want to do that. I want to be on the board.
Yeah.
The lady said that.
He was not aware that
I
he
don't know
was.
who they contacted. He said it wasn't him. I don't know.
Yeah, he wasn't.
But he has to be on the board.
Okay. Yeah, that was an unpleasant conversation at the restaurant. So, yeah, he was a little warm about it. Yeah, a little bit. So,
He was unaware.
All right. Okay. Any discussion, questions?
don't drag it out. Let's go.
All right, move it. All right, Shannon?
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Gandy,
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo.
Yes.
Commissioner Bowe.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for resolution 2024-094, approval of a TFP grant agreement with New Mexico DOT.
Okay, motion and second for approval of this resolution. Ms. Ball?
Mayor and Commissioners, this is one of the grants I received through the New Mexico DOT. This is the widening and ADA accessibility of West Jackson from 9th Street to 17th Street. So we were awarded that funding. We have a 5% match. The project is over $2 million to construct and do ADA sidewalks and improve that, widen that area from, it'll be widened from 9th to 11th. It'll match from 11th to 17th.
I think we should sell tickets, because that's gonna be.
So how many variances are we gonna have to have when they start cutting that street on setback houses?
We don't have any. We have the right of way.
I understand,
They've all
but-
encroached on the right of way.
Well,
That's what he's saying
Yeah, so
is,
we just grant-
they're gonna be encroached.
Of any variances, I do not know of any variances granted on that area. I did research.
I understand, but once we cut that street and everybody's encroached, then they're
No,
gonna all
they're
need a
not.
variance.
The only thing that is encroached in the right of way is a few fences and some other plants and some other little fences, and their mailboxes. But the mailboxes will just be moved back to the new curb line, and their fences will need to be moved to their property line.
No carports or anything?
Huh?
No carports or anything?
Not that are gonna be in the way of this. Yeah. And if they are, there's a couple that are non-conforming, but they're not over the property line. And we can do the non-conforming through planning and zoning. So. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Let's roll with it.
All right. Okay, Shannon?
Commissioner Gandy.
Yes.
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Bowe.
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for a resolution 2024-095, acceptance of New Mexico Match Fund grant for CDBG project number 23-C-NR- I hope that's a 1 or dash 01 dash G dash 03 dash G dash 03. Okay. Cemetery.
We have a motion, a second for acceptance of this.
Mr. Mayor and Commissioners,
Yes.
Leslie's not here today. This is, as the commission may remember, we were approved for a CDBG ADA compliant sidewalk project for 2nd Street from Central to Avenue D. Our portion, which was going to be 10% of the grant, was going to be just shy of $75,000. Our grants department has gone out and obtained a matching grant from the state of New Mexico. This resolution would save the city almost $75,000 on that project, and we'd have no cost.
Awesome. All right, thank you. Questions?
We may have a little cost because we're not sure if that is actually enough. When this was bid out, the COG actually put this project together. So to actually complete the whole thing, we're gonna need a little bit more money. And that's why I had told Leslie to go after more money, was just to get the project completed. So we would probably still end up spending our match and using that to go ahead and complete the project.
Questions? And I have one. Who actually tops the agenda? You do? Okay, well, in the previous one, and when he said TFP, I thought he had read it incorrectly, yeah. I just need to follow through on, because it should be TPF and, thank you, CBDG.
Community block.
I know I can't read, cut me some slack.
And I did notice that it was both ways in the resolution. And I thought I'd show you that.
Yeah, I'm not critical, just,
Can you buy a vowel?
It's supposed to be
The
TPF.
It is supposed to be TPF.
yeah.
But the CDBG is correct.
Well, it just didn't sound right when you read it, so
CCP is correct?
Yeah.
I inadvertently thought it was him reading, being dyslexic, and then we did it again, and I'm like, oh,
Cut me some slack, I might be from Tatum, I can do math.
Is it CBD?
Community block
yeah,
development grant.
yeah, CBDG.
CBDG.
Uh-huh.
Community block development grant.
Development grant.
CB.
Damn Florida, did
DG, damn.
Too many.
And when you get done with that, then you can go ahead and do a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Bolt,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Gandy,
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo.
Yes.
In Shannon's defense, she writes it from the resolution she gets from us, so it was wrong in the resolution.
All right, Commissioner White, it is your turn.
I'd like to make a motion, pay bills,
Finance report first.
And, yeah,
and do finance report
first?
first.
No, I don't know. Did you say first or do you
Which do you
care?
want first? It doesn't matter.
Let's just do that and then we just vote on
Which?
do hers.
The finance?
Finance report, okay. All right, we have a motion second to, not accept, I guess.
What's it?
What are we gonna do? We gonna discuss the finance report?
You can tell us about
Because we don't have to approve it.
No, we can just discuss it.
We got to discuss, okay.
Yeah.
We have a motion and a second to discuss the finance report and pay bills. So, Shannon? Oh, no, we're not ready. We got to have the discussion first.
It's okay. I'm not ready to go home.
It's been a long day.
It's been a long day. So we're at the point in our budget where we should be at 16.67% of revenues and expenditures. Total revenues for all departments is around 15% and expenditures are 12%. So we're doing good on holding revenues higher than expenditures. We received in August, we received the law enforcement protection grant, a portion of the fire protection grant. And this month, we also received the law enforcement recruitment, right? Recruitment, there's so many. And we're having to return some funds on that one, and then we'll get that one taken care of. But from last year, when they gave us $225,000 to spend in 4 months, and there was no way we were gonna hire enough people to do that. So we knew we would be returning some funds at the end of the year. The anything else to note, we are running, if you look at the Youth Recreation Fund 21700, you'll notice expenditures are running high, but that's because of the adjustment we're about to do. We'll up that, and it'll bring that percentage down on that one. Are there any questions on any of them? Water, you had a question on water.
Commissioner Trujillo has a question.
Yeah,
So,
just trying
as
to
part of our transition, something we're noticing is that there's a lot of adjustments that are coming through. So Kevin and I and Wendy, we were gonna sit down last week and some of tour through City Hall, so we will sit down this week. Some things aren't coming in right. And so I think it's a Tyler issue, it's not a revenue issue. We're just having to figure out why some things are not being put into the right places. So we know that deposits aren't showing since the transition. It'll show to accounts receivable accounts and it'll show to the to, and from, but it doesn't show into the deposit account. So we have a ticket into Tyler. So it's one of those things we're trying to figure out what's going on.
They flooded them with tickets this last week.
Yeah, and last week they were on my computer for a solid day, even trying to fix our issue of Tyler not working.
But in regards to, I don't know what it shows on the finance report.
It says 213,000 in the deficit of the.
Deficit.
Yeah. So that's what I'm just trying to figure. I'm like, that's a big number.
Everything has been going as it has in the last few months. So nothing should change in regards to just running a deficit. Yeah, that's crazy.
Right. Yeah. So that's why we're trying to figure out why things are posting, because it's showing his posted bills, but then it's showing a bunch of adjustments to it. So we're trying to figure out what's coming in through the adjustments.
So this may not be actual, is that what
Right.
you're
We
saying?
don't think this is the actual number. We're trying to figure out what.
So essentially, I think it pulls those numbers from an account that that money is not being posted to that account. So it's not showing in that account, if I'm correct. But when we run transaction reports and things like that, billing reports, we see the actual number of what we billed that month. Which should be in the 400,000 as of right now. And then I have a monthly transaction report that we can show that we're actually getting that money, right? And from these transactions, where you can't post that.
We can find where everything's posting and meeting up where it's supposed to.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so it's definitely a Tyler issue. Kevin, we put in a ticket last week, and like we said, we kind of had to deal with it not working, so Kevin put in another call today. And we can get their expertise on where these other sides of these journal entries are going. One part is there and one part's not, so we're just trying to figure out where it's going to.
Where it's not showing up is what you see. Yeah. It's just, we see it on our side where we see the actual transactions, the billing and everything, just when it gets reported to the finance side, unfortunately, it's not going or it's not showing in the right account.
So when it's corrected, you're gonna give us the right number.
I'm assuming maybe by our next financial report.
Yeah, by our next
Yes,
meeting.
oh yeah.
If you'll have that,
It better
we
be
can
fixed.
discuss it, okay.
Yeah, it better be fixed by next financial quarter. DFA is gonna ask us questions too. So that's just, it's, when you transition to new systems, there's just gonna be, there's our hiccup. And it just seems to be with water, because wastewater and, it might be a little bit in wastewater. Of course, solid waste is, it's doing fine. It's showing the revenues just fine. So there's just a little hiccup on the other two sides that we're trying to figure out what.
Yeah, I would just like to see it all get corrected before we see these other rates working like they're supposed to be working, because if not, we're not gonna have a good picture.
Right. So we are working on it.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay, anything further on the financial report?
So that's the budget piece, the cash. The only thing with the cash, it's gonna be the same thing, kind of estimating and water right now. That number's probably low because it should be higher because of these deposits and stuff not showing up. So that's also a number that will be changing. But overall, our cash is up and looking good. And we're at a $1.3 million surplus right now. Any questions?
Just the attitude recreation.
Oh, moving on.
That's Lee County Electric Youth and Recreation Fund for when they put all that blue mulch in around the playground.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that just hit.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 months ago.
Yeah, we had to call them and ask them to bill us because they didn't have money.
Why? Why ask for billing?
Because we get deemed on our audit if we do things like, we're trying to avoid those things.
Okay. So no further on the financial report. Questions on, or discussion on the expenses approved.
If you notice on page 13, we have created an LCECU fund project. And so items will start showing up in there as well. For new POs for this year, altitude, unfortunately, that PO was created before we created this project, but as they're creating new POs, they'll start using that, so you'll be able to track the expenses towards that project better.
Okay, on page 2, under 10506, CNM Electric. It says Maddox grant, lighting repairs.
Yes, sir, the 13,000? Yep. That's for the gym lights onto the Maddox grant that they replaced. They took out the old lights and put in new LED lights.
Okay, did the Maddox grant pay for all that or not?
Yes, sir.
One of the things on our list for department head meeting, Wednesday?
Yes.
Wednesday. And one of the things on accounting's list is to teach them how to be a little better with their descriptions that you see on.
The lighting and breakers is broken out separately, is that we had to upgrade that for the new HVAC units, which are going in this week. So, but it was also covered by Maddox.
Okay, now 2 underneath that, D&D.
59,000, yes, that's covered by Maddox, correct.
And what was that for?
That is for 45 cameras, 42 cameras for the youth center.
Security system. Okay.
And we just caught someone illegally dumping in a roll-up and back, and we traced them to their house in the neighborhood, and we were given a $300 citation.
Nice.
Only 20,000.
Right, Joe? Yes, sir. Got him. Tracked him down.
Your luck.
Okay, on page 3, we have Homeyer Electric. It says work on splash. Is that the splash pad?
Yes.
I was asking, is that recent or was that from previous, before, that we just are paying it now or what?
Right, it's a previous.
It was from when we were doing that retrofitting through the splash pad. Came in contact with me in August with an invoice. I asked them why it took so long. They kind of gave me the runaround, so.
This was probably what, in
Back
early
May?
spring?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to check on that. Again, Morano Custom Painting.
What page, sir?
That was on, that is also at the youth center.
Is that's both, are they both from Maddox?
Yes. Yeah, I don't.
Did the hallways and the gym.
I just want to see what the grant is covering. On page 7, Premier Waterworks. It's got water 3/4 repair clamp. They got 2 of them that are 3/4 repair clamp, 3/4 inch. I don't know, but there's a big discrepancy in the 2 prices.
I think that that's probably the quantity that they purchased. But I can make it for sure. I would imagine it's that they purchased
Okay.
more.
I'm guessing that's when they repaired the big 16-inch main out down south of town.
Mhm.
That's why they're so expensive.
Yeah, but I said there's a big discrepancy between the two of them, so that's,
I would think it's just that they probably got like three. and then-
3 of them.
Three of them, and then they got
Same
one.
cost if we did
Yeah.
3 of them.
But I'll check, I can have them pull that, check that for sure.
I believe that's it.
Nobody else? Anyone else? Shannon?
Commissioner Trujillo,
Yes.
Commissioner Rhodes,
yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Gandy.
Yes.
All right. Commissioner, please remember to sign the paperwork. With that, the items of the agenda are exhausted. We are adjourned. Thank you. Thank you.
Back when we had a road.